How are you? How are you, Michelle?
How about you?
I'm doing amazing. The energy's raising. Today is a beautiful day. It's
Always.
a beautiful day.
It
You see
is.
that?
Yeah, I was just fixing to go take a walk. That's why I got this little headband thing on.
Oh man. Yeah, what inspired you to come on and join us today?
I actually just thought I was joining to listen to you. I didn't realize it was putting me on.
Well, the topic for today was overcoming adversity.
Well, I've definitely done that in my life.
Yeah, do you have something you want to briefly touch on it? You want to speak on it, like a message for
Wow.
somebody? Because they were talking about Anthony earlier. Anthony said heart disease was something that he overcame, and he said that the way he overcame heart disease was lots of prayer, good diet, exercise, getting rid of negative people,
Oh yeah.
and more meditation. That was his remedy for his ailment there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How about
Wow.
yourself?
So it's crazy because I was actually just talking with a friend of mine from my spiritual mentorship group the other day, and about some of the different things that I've overcome, and just not giving into health issues is a huge thing because I think what happens, and this was in a discussion that we had, is that I think that what happens is we mentally accept what someone's told us as being like, that's it. It's like we accept, when I say we accept it, it's almost like we sign a contract to say, yes, what you're saying is true, therefore that's what I have and that's what my problem is. And when we do that, it's like kind of like our soul contracts, we're really actually signing a contract to it. And it's kind of like putting us on our deathbed, so to speak. Does that make sense? And I think that the reason that that came to me that way is because I have escaped death so many times, so many times. And it's not because I'm somebody special or anything else. I just refuse to say that that's what's happening, you know? Back in like 19, geez, it wasn't 19 anything. Goodness, that was like way further off than I was looking to go. Back in about 2007, I actually ended up with, goodness, salmonella poisoning. I didn't know that's what it was, but it was salmonella poisoning from a Cliff Bar of all things. Um, and I got really, really sick, and it was actually on Christmas Day. And I just got violently ill, and I was throwing up immensely from it, and ended up aspirating and getting pneumonia from it as well. So I had salmonella poisoning and pneumonia together, and finally got put into the hospital. And when I did, my blood pressure was really, really low, and they ended up having to go through my artery, my main artery in my neck, and put a line straight down into my heart full of dopamine and turn me upside down for like 8 hours because they almost lost me. I mean, I was just almost flatlining from them actually giving me some medication that's just made me crash even further. And then they had me in cardiac ICU for like 8 days, and they kept telling me, Miss Burch, you need to just rest. And it's like, I can't just rest. I'm fine. I'll be fine. Everything's fine. And they're like, no, you literally have almost died. You're barely surviving right now. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm fine. And I just kept arguing with them about it. I mean, they had like pastors come and everything else, like ready to give me last rites because I was just so low and my blood was barely going. And I just refused that was what was happening because I didn't feel like I was dying. And so I didn't accept it. My blood pressure did finally come back up. It just took a long time for it to do so. And then I've had all these other physical issues that I've had my entire life. I mean, after 8 to 10 days, by the way, I did get released. I was fine. Everything got back to normal with me. But I was like a phenomenon to them because they just couldn't understand because my blood pressure was so low that I literally should just have been almost dead.
Whoa. So your recovery confused them.
Yeah, they didn't understand what was going on because it kept telling me also, put away your phone. You don't need visitors. You just need to rest. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? If you want me to just rest, then you need to put me under because I can't just lay here and do zero nothing all day long and stare at the ceiling, I mean, I can meditate and stuff, but I really wasn't in that part of my spiritual journey that much at that point either. I was really I was really tied into a very strong non-denominational Christian church, highly conservative, the whole 9 yards. But I just didn't believe that I was dying or that I was going to die, you know. And it just all there was. I didn't feel like I was. So why would I be, you know? And mentally, I knew I wasn't done. I knew I had kids. I had things to do. I wasn't finished. Life was not over. It couldn't be over. I don't care if this thing happened or not. It just wasn't going to happen. So I just didn't let go. You know, that's all you can do. I just flat out didn't let go of it. And, you know, lo and behold, everything ended up being fine. But again, my purpose was not done. And I knew that that was really the thing. I mean, they kept saying that, and I was like, no, I'm not finished with everything. I've got kids that I need to raise. I've got other things. I was put on this planet for something else, and it's just going to happen. That's all there is to it, you know? So
Wow.
I just kept pushing through, and, you know, all these things came to be. You know, I went to my first ayahuasca retreat, and, back in, I don't know, it was during the pandemic, whenever that was, and I'm lost on dates and years anymore at this point. But I went to my first ayahuasca retreat, and during that retreat, it came to me that I was supposed to do stuff with healing myself and being not just healing me, but helping to heal others and support others in their healing journey, whatever that may be, you know? And it took several years going through all that and things going through with more and more of the plant ceremony retreats and stuff. I didn't really know what avenue was or how I was supposed to be that healer. And my spiritual mentor, one of my spiritual mentors, it looks like she actually is watching right now. Mary, she actually was part of the group with the ayahuasca. She was the one that was really there guiding me through that entire journey. And at the end of that retreat, she had these little like anklet bracelets. Or actually they're bracelets. Can't even really see it, I don't think. But anyway, it's right in there. Oh, have I got it shown yet? There you go. And she asked me to just choose the ones that actually I was drawn to. And this is the one I picked. And I asked her first before I picked it. I asked her, I said, what do they mean? She goes, I'm not going to tell you the meanings till after you pick it. I said, okay. So I picked the one. And then I asked her what it meant. And she said it meant medicine woman. So again, that was just more of a confirmation that I was exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And then a couple of years later, you know, spinal flow came into my life, and I found that because I was still looking for my own healing, because I still had a lot of physical issues and a lot of issues that I needed to take care of. I'd done a whole lot of work on myself on a spiritual level, but my physical things were still there, and I was still combating a lot of the physical problems, and it was just really rough on me. So that's when it finally came to me that this was the healing modality that I was supposed to be using and supposed to be going for. So on faith, because I couldn't even try it myself. Hey, Mary, even though I couldn't try it myself, I actually was like, okay, well, this is what I need to do. So by faith, I stepped out. I took out a loan to take the course and to become certified. Got laid off during the pandemic, or during that as well, and during the Lionsgate portal of last year. I got laid off right after I had started my training, but I still wasn't certified yet. And so I went through all of my certification courses, and I started getting some exchange with some other students for the services themselves. But my true big healing finally started when I actually went to Hawaii for my certification classes, and we had actual one-on-one healings 3 times a day for 7 days. And I had a really bad scoliosis. I had lockjaw. I had TMJ. I had a Dodgers hump starting, like the old lady's hump on the back of my back starting. I had that happen. All kinds of different things. But, you know, the thing is you just can't give up. It's your mindset. You have to understand we are designed to heal within ourselves. And it's there. It's our life force energy. It's our prana. It's whatever you want to call it. There's actually a communication system that's from our brain is actually the most vital organ in our entire body. And a lot of people don't understand that. They want to say it's the skin or the heart or anything else. Well, really any other organ we have in our body other than the brain, we can actually have a transplant from somebody else or something else. Even skin can do skin transplants. You cannot have a brain transplant, and you'll never be able to have a brain transplant. The brain itself is not just the inside squishy stuff that you see in there. It actually has the spinal cord that comes down through it, the nervous system that comes down to it. It all goes through, and the nervous system itself goes all the way down into the tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes. It's all throughout your whole body. You cannot replace that. Our brain is so vital in so many different ways, and everything that we feed it and how we actually, what we believe, all of those things matter. All of those things matter. And so our healing power is directly within that brain. And there's a communication system that goes down along that spinal column that our brain checks with our body. What's going on? What's going on? What do we need to do? Is something to be healed? What needs to be healed? Oh, okay, this needs to be done. And then it sends it back up. But what happens is we have different types of physical blockages, emotional blockages, because we're taught not to express our emotions, which is something that's horrible. We need to let people express their emotions, no matter what those emotions are. They need to be able to let them go. If they hold on to them, that's only suppressing more stuff that's going to cause them lots of physical, emotional, and mental problems that are going to keep them from being healthy. And it creates those blockages. So with spinal flow, that's what we're doing, is we're opening up those blockages, and it actually frees that up. My scoliosis is completely repaired. I've got no scoliosis at all, zero. TMJ, completely gone. And lockjaw, completely gone. That alone was amazing. And that whole situation's a whole different story there. That was craziness that happened there. And I have more energy than I've had in years. I would say as a whole, I had a lot of physical ailments. I mean, a lot of physical ailments. Also fibromyalgia, which I would say is a good 80 to 85% gone now as well. I need some more sessions myself. I don't get as many of them myself as I would prefer, but I do have another practitioner coming on Thursday, and we're trading all day. Thank God. Yes. And I'm super excited about that as well. So I just really want to continue to help other people heal, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to partner with you as far as working with some retreats too. And, you coming in and helping with some Qigong to help for the movement, because our body needs to move as well as our brain needs to be able to have what it needs to have. We need to reprogram our brain. We need to activate and clear out those blockages in our spinal column so we can truly heal and be the people that we are meant to be and serve whatever purpose it is that we're here to serve.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful, Michele. Wow. This is so powerful. I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm so excited for you. I'm so just enthused. This is just the way that you just illustrate and express the magic of the human body, the magic of the brain, the magic of like all these things that are connected, that there's no separation, that there's no substitute, there's no alternative. We only get one. We only get one. So thank you so much, Michele. Like earlier, it was just so powerful what you were talking about in the hospital. Nurses and doctors, priests and pastors and people praying over you, and they're saying it's over. They're saying it's done, you're done. Like, just rest. And you're like, no, I refuse. I have more. My life, it means more. My purpose, it means more. I have more life to give. I have more life to live. And, when it comes to people receiving a diagnosis and thinking that the diagnosis is a death sentence, and just accepting whatever that they're being fed, and just saying, okay, that's it, I'm dead. I'll just lie in bed, right? Like, I heard what you said, that's it. What advice would you have for somebody in that situation when their life just does a 180 in the mind, and they don't know how to find hope? They don't know how to feel peace. They don't know how to find that inspiration or motivation to keep going. Like, what message would you have for somebody in that moment to turn things around?
Do they feel like they're done? I mean, there's a time that my grandfather, he was 100 years old and he passed, but he passed because by choice, actually. He chose to quit drinking and eating because he felt like his service and his time was done, and he had been here long enough. But he's 100 years old. He broke his hip. He couldn't do a lot of the things he is able to do before, so he didn't feel useful. So is there something that you're here to do? Do you feel like you have something? If you feel like you are actually have something left to give, and that you're supposed to be here for a purpose, and that purpose has not been accomplished yet, then why take on what someone else is telling you? You know, you're the one that knows, not that doctor. Does that make sense? It's internal.
It's an internal thing. So no one can give it to you. It has to come from within.
Yeah. My grandfather, like I said, he chose to go ahead and stop eating and drinking. He was ready to pass on, but he had lived a long, long life. I mean, he was 100 years old. Most people don't even come close to that. You know, he outlived 3 heart pacers, and he had a colonoscopy, the colonic bag, you know, that they put on you. He'd had that done in his 80s, late 80s at the VA hospital, and they were trying to release him from the hospital. And he said, "Oh, no, 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 no. I didn't come in here with a shit bag on me. I ain't leaving with a shit bag on me. You're reversing this stuff." And they're like, "No, no, Dr. Mr. Cook, you could die." And he goes, "I don't care. Then I die."
So what do you call that? Because you had that same attitude. You had that
Yeah,
same attitude. It was more than just gratitude. That was an attitude. It
yeah,
was like a
yeah.
resilience that welled up within you, like, no, like I'm fighting this, you know, like that's almost like a warrior spirit. What would you call that?
I guess it is a warrior spirit. I don't know. It's just, it's the flame. There's a flame within you. You know what's going on. You're the only one that can truly determine that. You know, do you have a burning desire? Do you have something that's within you that's just like, this is it? You know, I mean, what is your personal, it's not what everybody else is inflecting upon you. That's not it. It's all internal. It's you, totally you. When you get to the root core and you peel away everything everybody else has said or done, what do you believe?
So that's the question. You know, we have to ask ourselves, what do we truly believe? Like, is this
What
really
do we
the,
believe?
yeah.
Yeah. What do we believe? One. And then besides not only what do we believe personally, what are our feelings upon it? Are we here for a purpose, and have we actually accomplished that purpose yet? Because if you haven't accomplished whatever that purpose is yet, it's not time.
I love this. I love this. Yeah. Yeah.
It's only time
Wow.
when you decide it's time.
Right. Right. You know, you just remind me, like, there's been so many times where somebody told me a scenario where, you know, they were given a diagnosis or what most people would think of as a death sentence, like saying you only have this amount of time and that's it, right? And they refused, you know, that directive, and they took the objective to go off, you know, away from the collective, you know, go off into the islands or go off into the tropics and go off into to where they're actually from. You know, they're not really from the States, so they took the choice to go off and determine their own fate, right? Like, okay, if I'm gonna die, then I'm gonna die where I'm from, and
Right.
they're still alive, right? They're still alive now, and it was like, oh my gosh, you know, you could have simply just accepted what they said, and that would have been it for you, but you said no. You know, I have more. There's more for me to go. There's more for me to grow. Yeah.
Yeah. And thank goodness, because I didn't even meet you till well after half of that. Because you and I didn't even get to meet until, what was it, 2017 or so?
Yeah. When I was working there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
you had already overcome so much adversity, you
uh,
know, all those
and
trials,
that's
like,
not even, that's only a quarter of just the health issues, much less all the rest of the adversities. Believe me,
yeah.
I used to call myself a survivor. I don't use that terminology anymore. I don't. I'm more than a survivor. It's not that. I don't. I used that and then realized it actually put me in like a negative standpoint, that I was constantly surviving, and instead I'm a thriver instead of a survivor. One way or another, I'm gonna thrive.
There we go. There we go. That's what we're talking about, Michelle. That's what we're talking about. Not just a survivor. I'm a thriver. Yes. A high
I've
viber.
survived a bunch of things, but forget that. I'm thriver.
Yeah. I love it. You know, Danny is down here, the kitten monk. Danny says, in your true core, there's always more, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And Nabiha says, if you're going to be here, be excellent. Like, why just exist if
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be here? Yeah, find your purpose, like you were saying, Michelle.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
usually to do something for others and for the collective as a whole. And we have to find what that is, whatever it may be. I mean, heck, it took me till I was already in my 50s before I figured out what it was I was really supposed to do. I always knew I was supposed to help people somehow. I just didn't know what.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad you found it. You know, I'm so glad it found you,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And just thank you for all that you do. And thank you for the message that you put through
Thank
today.
you. You
Yes.
inspire me all the time, dude. All the time. More than I could ever say. I
Blessings. Blessings.
appreciate you so much.
Awesome. Well, take care, Michelle. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. I'm gonna go take my walk now that I was planning on taking. Hopefully,
All
I didn't
right.
get too much hotter in the process, but I finished my tea, so that's
All
good.
right. All right. All right. Much
Thank
love.
you. Love you.
Much love.